So what do you think? Is Strava good or bad for mountain biking? Well, I'm going to give you my take, and then I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. So I've been using Strava pretty much since I started mountain biking. I was originally using Runkeeper, which yes, you can track bike rides on Runkeeper, but Runkeeper is what I used before, basically tracking my runs, and then I made the good switch over to mountain biking and ended up switching over to Strava after trying it out and liking it better. So the main reason why I use it is just to track my total mileage and my elevation. I just kind of love seeing the stats, so it's cool to be able to see that. It's cool to see kind of your personal best on different segments or full trails, and it's also fun to see how you rank against everyone else. But I'm not competing for any KOM, so I'm really not that worried about it. I just kind of like to see where I rank, and it also gives you a good idea of, are you improving or are you not? In my case, around here it's a lot of flat trails. Really, your fitness level has a lot to do with it, and I already know my fitness level right now not quite as good as it used to be. So there's a lot of PRs that I still have from like 2 years ago. So I think there's some good to Strava, and I think there's some bad to it as it applies to mountain biking. So one of the good things is that it can help you improve your fitness level because you're chasing after your personal best time on a certain section or on the full trail, or maybe you are chasing down KOMs. Either way, it's a good way to kind of track your fitness level so that you can improve it over time. Another cool thing that Strava allows you to do is track mileage for each bike that you have. If you ride two different bikes, or if you got a new bike, or even if you got a new part, like say you got a new drivetrain on your bike and you want to know how many miles you're putting on that drivetrain. You can add that so that you're tracking all your miles since you added that new drivetrain or new fork or whatever part that it is. So that can be very helpful when it comes to doing maintenance on your bike and knowing when you need to do maintenance based on how many miles you've put since your last maintenance or new part or whatever. Another thing that's cool is the heat map, so it shows you where people ride most often. So that can tip you off to what trails are good if you're going to a new area and there's a lot of trails, you're not sure which ones you should go on. You can see from the heat map what most of the locals ride, so that's probably going to be the best trail. It can also help you to find new trails, although I've found that Trail Forks and MTV Project are pretty thorough on that at this point. They've pretty much got all the trails mapped out. Another good thing, like I said, you've got stats for your personal best, and that's one of the things that I like the best about it. I don't really worry about it too much when I'm out there on the ride. I just kind of ride the way I want to ride that day, and then afterward, it's always fun to look at your activity and see what PRs you set, if you set any. Also, if you're like me and you're not going to be competing for any KOMs, it's just fun to follow your buddies and see what kind of times they've got and kind of have some friendly competition over that. Okay, so what about the bad? First of all, we all are familiar, right, with the STRAVASSHOLES. Those are the people that push little kids and their moms out of the way, and dogs, and run over squirrels, and no, I don't know. So you don't want to be that guy. Unfortunately, those guys do exist, and they don't respect anybody else on the trail because they're going for their PR or they're going for their KOM. But I don't think the majority of people on Strava are like that. I think that's really like 1% or less. For most of us, that's not going to be an issue. You just have to realize it's just a little app. It really doesn't mean anything. You really don't get anything for that KOM other than having your name up there. It's just a thing of pride, not worth pissing off other trail users. So another thing about the heat map is that it could actually be bad in that it exposes secret trails or private trails, whatever. It's not really an issue in this part of the country, I don't think, but I guess in California there's like some illegal trails and stuff, and so if people are using Strava when they're riding those trails, then they may reveal locations of these spots. Now you can set your activity to private, but ultimately some people are going to forget. For me personally, the only private trail that I have ridden was at Cat Mountain in Austin, and I kept that activity private, so nobody can see that and nobody will be able to find it, at least not from my Strava. Now, I've heard some people say also that Strava takes the fun out of riding because they're trying to be fast. They're trying to go for the KOM or the PR or whatever, instead of just going out and having a good time. And I can see that. I think that's really on a personal level. It just kind of depends on who you are. Are you super competitive? Are you gonna make it a big deal and turn riding into an event that's not fun? Or are you gonna be more like me and just, yeah, the Strava's on. If I get a PR, I get a PR. If I don't, I don't. No big deal. I'm just out there to have fun. The worst thing that I have found about Strava is that in California, it actually got mountain bikers banned from a trail. The reason why is the city council found the speed data for that trail on Strava, and they could see how fast mountain bikers were riding, and they thought, that's too fast, that is unsafe, we gotta ban mountain bikers from this trail. That happened at the Burn Preserve in Los Altos, California. And so that is a real threat where Strava could get mountain bikers banned from multi-use trails. So overall, I think the good outweighs the bad, and I love using Strava. I used it on every ride. I'm not gonna say I'm one of those people that if it wasn't on Strava, it doesn't count. No big deal. I did have a ride recently where Strava crashed in the middle of it. Actually, not even in the middle of it, after like 2 miles, 2.8 miles or something like that. And so it didn't record the whole rest of the ride. I'm not that worried about it. And I know for me personally, I'm not gonna take it too far. I'm not gonna make it a bad thing. So therefore, I love it. I'm gonna continue using it. But what do you think? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of Strava. Is it good? Is it bad? Does the good outweigh the bad, or does the bad outweigh the good? Do you use Strava? And if not, would you ever consider it? And by the way, if you want to follow me on Strava, I'll link down below to my profile. You can see how mediocre my times are. Anyway, thank you for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see ya on the next adventure.